And moving on to topic 2, we're on to not really. I guess you can't really call this K-pop. I guess this is more just like Korean music, but it's always nice to go to this type of music. At least I think it's nice. So we're going to do a review of Colde and his new album called Love Part 1. So for those that aren't familiar with Colde, he is one half of the musical duo that is Off on Off. They used to be under Tableau's sub-label under YG called High Ground, but once High Ground dispersed, they kind of went off to do their own thing. Colde and Zero Channel, like the other guy, so Colde is the main performer, singer of all their songs. Zero Channel is the producer. They're both part of Club Eskimo, which is kind of the collective that Dingin and other artists of his friends are under, that type of thing. So again, I know this isn't your guys' wheelhouse, so I should be very interested in seeing what your thoughts are on this. This is very much a me and possibly Cooper type of album release. So, starting off, we have Love is a Flower. Sam, what are your thoughts on Love is a Flower?
Okay, so yeah, this was the first impression of him. So that was exciting. It started off with a piano and some whistling. I was like, okay, this is what it's going to be like. And then he started singing, and I just immediately was like, oh, it's gonna be like this.
Oh, is that kind of album?
I was like, okay, I didn't know what to expect, and then okay, yeah, that's really mostly what I had to say. I mean, he had some really cool stuff going on. There's some strings, there's piano. I mean, I was liking it more with each listen, and I mean, overall, the whole album's just so much better with headphones.
Oh, definitely.
And he does so many cool things with the instrument, his voice, but and then it was such a short song, yet it felt like it took forever to end because the whole last minute is him just doing a chord and hum. It was okay, song's over. Let's just. I mean, it's an intro, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a long intro. But yeah.
That's, I think, similar to my thoughts on it. So I really liked how it kind of started off very minimalist, and I thought it was just going to be an instrumental track, and I was down with that. And I think this will be a repeating theme throughout both this album and the next album, is that I like the parts where they're not singing. So as long as they're not singing. But when you start singing, it get into the danger territory a little bit. But I really like the instrumental on this song. I love pianos. I actually thought he did a really good job incorporating nature and those bird chirping sounds into the background. I really like that. The part where the violin or some sort of stringed instrument pops in for a little bit, that was good. But his vocals, they just don't work for me that much. So I still like the song. It starts off really strong, and then we'll see.
So yeah, if this is your first time listening to us reviewing Colde or Off on Off type music, you should know that this was probably one of the only album. Off on Off was a god tier album for me when I first listened to it. It was just something I listened to nonstop. So the amount of weight that Colde's music holds in my eyes is just very immense. So I had a lot of expectations going into this album, and I just pretty much got what I wanted right off the bat in terms of what I expect from his type of production and his type of music. So he makes a very good use of just ambient noise in almost every single type of release, or just these type of ballady songs. And for me, at least, the string instrumental was very moving, just as much as the piano melody was. Again, it's just this type of really emotional type song that I've really just resonate with. I'm a fucking emo kid at heart. This is the type of music I listen to. I really, yeah. Just I guess to take off the YouTuber mask for a bit, I really don't listen to K-pop all that much, in all honesty. Most of the music I listen to outside of I try to keep myself distanced away just so I won't get sick of it. So a lot of the music I turn to is stuff like this, stuff like Dean, or stuff I don't know, just more R&B type of music inside and outside of Korean artist. So yeah, I guess that's why I really like resonate with his music. Just it's the perfect type of like, I don't know, like nighttime driving or just sleepy time music, or just just that type of vibe. So like in all honesty, it reminds me of something like this song specifically reminds me of something that this one artist that we covered on releases last week, Clara C. She's like this old YouTuber, like Korean American artist, that she does a lot of like really nice vocalization and piano and string instrumentals. So it definitely gave me a vibe of that. Maybe that's why I resonate with it a lot more on that front. So moving on, we have
what does Cooper think?
Oh, Cooper didn't write individual notes for this.
Oh, come on, Cooper.
He only does it for groups he really, really likes.
He said this is like his album of the year.
Yeah. It was just funny.
Songs?
I don't know why. Anyway, moving on to Love Makes Me Jealous. So if the titles of the songs and the title of the album haven't sort of given you an indication of what the theme is here, I mean, they should kind of give it away at this point. So, Sam, what were your thoughts on this?
All right. So, trying to remember how this one kind of went. I mean, like he had like, I remember it started off with like kind of like a static synthy effect. Like he just does really cool things, in the background instrumentally. That's pretty much my big comment of the whole album. And like he has like it had a very echoey sound to his singing, but like his singing, he like mumbles a bit and it like comes across flat, and I couldn't get over it. I don't know. And it's like he's having all these cool things happening in the background. Like there's like like little arpeggios happening. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I wish I could hear it. And then he started rapping in this one, I believe. I think it was like the only rap in the album.
That's the only rap that he had on the entire
album. And like
album.
the rap, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is fine. Then he like ended it with this like, hey, or something. And I was just like, okay, what was that? But I don't know. But the one thing I really like the last like 30-ish seconds of the song. He's doing kind of like this harmonizing with the mumble and the falsetto. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool. That's like the only time I was a fan of the mumbling was when he would layer it with kind of like his more falsetto sound. Like I thought it created a really cool effect, and they're very different sounds but together. It's like, okay, like I see what he's doing. I liked that. Mm-hmm.
I noticed that as well. Like my favorite part of the song was the way he utilized his background vocals. Like it seemed like sometimes background vocals like they don't really like feel like they sit well within the song.
Yeah,
he does a really good job like binging off them, and they flow really well. Especially like in the last half of the song, they just sound fantastic. But still, the voice is just kind of. But I agree that the rapping was probably the best part of this, which I wouldn't have expected. It's just a kind of a chill song, but it doesn't really do much for me.
Again, I'm just a really big fan of just like lo-fi, like slow moving R&B. It's basically just, I guess, to sort of put all of Colde and Off and Off's music in a nutshell. Like this is the type of like music you listen to at like 12 in the morning when you're just up late at night for no goddamn reason, and that's me every single day. So that's why like this is my type of music personified in that sort of way, I guess. I get to this probably would be the most, I guess, signature of like the type of production and sound that Colde and Off would do. The rap verse definitely was kind of a surprise because he doesn't rap all too often, but he's still really good at it. I mean, because they usually get some type of like guest vocalist or rapper to do that, but he more than carries his weight on the rap verse. So I don't know, I'm really even just into this type of like sort of slow moving R&B hip hop type music, because it kind of reminds me of like what Tyler's doing, like Tyler the Creator. Like he released Igor and Flower Boy, like this type of like sort of mellow vibe of like lo-fi R&B type of music. So I guess that's where I usually draw my comparisons in that sort of way. Moving on, we are on to one of the two singles off of this release, titled I Fucking Love You. I don't really know how else to go about it. That's the title of the song, but what are your thoughts on that, Sam?
I mean, I thought this was a kind of a cool track. The first time I heard it, I was like, the second time and like more, I was like, okay, I really dig it. I mean, this seems so random on the album. It was the only song of this style, but I mean, it was a cool song. I mean, it reminds me of something. I can't remember. I can't think of what it was, but it sounds like there's just like this band. They're just jamming and like he's just singing, like like as if there aren't lyrics. Like he's just kind of improvising as he sings. And I thought that was really cool.
That's a really great way to describe it. Definitely.
Yeah. And then the one thing that was kind of weird is just because he keeps saying like I love you. It sounds weird.
His English is amazing. We will not slander Colde's English on this podcast.
Yeah, like it became distracting at a point.
Yeah, it is kind of distracting. Yeah, it's just us as native English speakers. Yeah, the grammar of it.
Yeah, I'm like, I see what you're going for, but it's okay.
Nice try.
And then one thing was like the last two songs were so short, like they were both under 3 minutes. So this one then felt long. So I think this one's like 4 minute song. Like the ending
4 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, the ending doesn't seem to happen. And then like there's that guitar part that happens towards the end. I couldn't tell if it's in a different key. It felt like it was.
Yeah, bit of a modulation there.
Yeah, it just like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, whoa, okay. But I mean, it was a cool song. And then like as for the music video, I mean, it was dark. He's just like in a field, just kind of going at it,
spinning around.
Yeah, I was just like, my first thought was like, oh, it's like the BTS Save Me field.
Yeah,
not to like bring BTS into this, but that was like my first thought. But he's just like, he's going, and then he's like running through the streets, and it's just he was going at it.
He's doing his Colde thing.
Yeah, he was angsty, and I was feeling it. Yeah.
So I did not like the song. I feel like it could have been a good song, but I didn't like the way it was produced. So it sounds like it's trying to like sound like a live recording. Like there's like a little bit of like echo effect on everything, or it almost sounds like it was recorded in a room that wasn't sound treated or something. And I assume that was deliberate, but I didn't like that style. But I really liked like the guitar part and like the last third of the song. That was the part that I was really jamming out to, the whole thing. But the whole like first 2/3 of it, I didn't like any part of it.
I mean, if I were to pick a favorite, I mean, I couldn't, but this would definitely be one of them, just because one, it's this type of like brooding, like bluesy, like electric guitar driven type of song is. It builds up on what he released last year. He had a song called Freedom that sort of does something very similar in terms of the sound, and he definitely builds upon it with this. I don't know. I like the sort of like raw, like unfiltered nature of the song because again, it's blues. It's supposed to be very, impromptu and just like raw in that sort of nature. Like his vocals are super, like he's crooning, and it's like I love the way you describe that, Sam. It's just, it sounds like he's just saying random shit, just like, and it fits the raw nature of that instrumental, and just I guess just the nature of the song that he's going after, like the harshness of it, like the lyrics, I guess in that way sort of fit. Again, that interlude or that sort of bridge towards the end where it does a modulation, and that friggin', oh my god, the guitar solo is just incredible. Just like all this like crazy, just like blues riffs. Like the ending is just like has this nice like finger picking outro to it. Yeah, I mean, like the music video definitely doesn't have much going on. I mean, you don't really need it in all honesty, because I guess that's the title says more than enough. It speaks on way more than any, I guess, music video would. But yeah, I'd say I still find it interesting just because it's literally him in just like a foggy field. Like I don't know where the hell he filmed this, but where it has that much fog. But that's a pretty interesting sort of music video. Moving on to the other single that was released. I don't really know which one the lead single was in all honesty, because I don't know if he's necessarily like promoting it, because this is just not the type of music you go on music shows for. But he just released 2 music videos for this, one for I Fucking Love You and one for Why Did It. So what do you think of this one, Sam?
This was easily my favorite song on the album. Like this was the best he sounded vocally. Like I remember when it first started, I was just like, finally, like this is okay. His voice actually shines here. And like another thing I love, it's in 3/4, which is, I love songs in 3/4. Like it's one of my favorite time signatures. It just floats. I love it. Like I liked this song a lot. And then like how he does the chorus like down an octave first, and then when he jumps up in the falsetto, I was just like, yes, like, that was that was so good.
Yeah,
like
it's
I don't know, I loved this. Like I really love the instrumentals. I made a note that it reminded me of kind of like a Zion T kind of instrumentals, which I mean,
makes
and
total
Zion T is
sense.
like one of my favorites.
I
So
mean, like same sort of like same group of friends and everything, like
Yeah.
like Fancy
Like-
Child and like Eskimo Club, that whole thing. So
I was feeling the song, and then the music video was that was something. It's just like him in a green screen, and like I'm guessing there must be some lyric about like falling, because it's like things just falling, and it's like at first I was like, okay, this is interesting. Then all of a sudden it's like King Kong, and then it's like Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, and then there was like a cat on a snowy car jumping.
the cat just eats shit.
I was loving it, and at the very end, it's just like all these cute animals, and there's like little drawn hearts.
Yeah, that's a screenshot that Cooper picked. It's just like two cats that make a heart.
Yeah, like I love this. Speaking of a cat, my cat just jumped up here. But like I thought it was a fun music video. At first I was like, this can't be the actual music video, right? Like this has to be like a fan made thing. No, it's official.
It's the real deal.
Yeah.
I like this music video way more than the one for I Fucking Love You. Like,
Yeah.
this one is the other one I never want to watch that again. But this one is actually like it was fun. I liked all like the weird references and stuff, and anytime there's like cats or cute animals involved, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he actually, or last year, he actually put out a song called "Your Dog Loves You," and the whole music video is just like people like with their cute dogs and everything. Like that's probably like the best music video of all time if you haven't gone to see it. Like it was Cold, and then it featured Crush. So like that's Cold, Crush, cute animals. Like what else do you need?
I'll need to check that one up for sure.
Yeah, definitely go check it out.
I like the song as well. I admit the first time I listened to it, I fell asleep like briefly while I was listening. But when I actually came back and listened again, I was like, oh man, this is actually pretty good. Like falsettos for me are hit or miss. Like some people can pull it off really well.
Yeah.
Others can't. I thought that this was very well done. Don't really have that much to say. It was a good song. Enjoyed it. Probably the best or second best song on the album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of the two singles, I definitely like Wadidu the most, just because I really feel like this might be Cold's best vocal performance out of all the music I've heard from him, in all honesty. Just the way, again, like you guys mentioned, just the way he interweaves his normal octave range and the falsetto it's beautiful. Nothing short of beautiful, literally. I guess the song title is interesting. Wadidu, I Google translated it. It came out to like an onomatopoeia sound, like a clattering or whatever. So I guess it makes sense with like all like the visuals in the music video. That sort of thing. Sense. Oh, that music video is a masterpiece. So yeah, there's like Doraemon, Spider-Man, The Matrix, like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Like as someone that's a sucker for pop culture references, like obviously I'm gonna love this. Again, just seeing him like superimposed and all this random stuff was funny. It kind of like Dean does this a lot in his music videos as well, so you can definitely tell like they're cut from the same cloth in that sort of way. But yeah, I feel like this is easily the strongest song vocally that I've ever heard from him, and yeah, this is why. Like if I were to show someone why I love Cold and his vocal style and singing so much, like I'd show them Wadidu as like a perfect prime example of this type of music. So, moving on, we're on to Scent.
Yeah, so pretty much kind of a similar comment of all. It's like, once again, loved the instrumental. When he starts singing, I'm like, okay. I mean, he had the echo effect was back in this song. He seems to like that. One thing I noticed was like the second verse was better than the first one. He seemed to do more, like, usually with songs, you build the first and second verse. Well, sometimes they do like a copy paste thing, So I really enjoyed that. It was in this copy paste. Like the second verse, he was doing some more melody stuff, music terms there. And it's This was another thing I noticed is like as the songs would go, I don't know if it's like his voice got better or like I just got used to it, but it's like as it went, I was like, okay, his voice isn't as bad as when it started. I think it's whenever the song starts and like, oh, this is really like cool instrumentals. And then he starts, I'm like, it's a bit of a letdown. But as it goes, you just kind of get used to it. And yeah, I think that's about all I had to say for this one.
I similar thoughts for me. Like the vocals just aren't really doing it for me. I don't really ever listen to this style of music or this style of vocals. So it's kind of just like I'm getting through it. I will say something that really annoyed me in the song is part of the way through the song, there's like this pinging that happens.
Yes.
Only in the right channel. So like it sounded like someone was like pinging on pots and pans in my kitchen, and I like turned to see what it was. And like I don't understand why he didn't put that in both channels because it was really distracting.
Yeah, like I was listening to this on the train and I fell asleep and I woke up to this song and I'm just like, is someone like paging me or something? I was just super confused the first time I heard it. So, anything else to say on it, or?
I think that's about it.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have much else to say on this, in all honesty, as well. Just because, yeah, it's a good follow up to in terms of placement to Wadiru. It's very simple of a song. Like it really just only has acoustic guitar and this like simple drum beat and that pinging. But I feel like it works well. The sort of echoey effect is nice. It's like this really like nice blend of like indie and almost like shoegazing in a way. It's like I guess that's just how to describe a lot of his music in general, just like really just that type of vibe. So I was still a pretty big fan of it. Next we have You Don't Need My Love.
So same comment as most of the other songs. Just voice at the beginning. By the chorus, I was liking his voice a little more. He had some like percussion enter, and it sounded. I guess the song was a little bit faster paced than maybe some of the other ones.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a nice change. And like he did more of that harmony with the falsetto and the mumble. I was digging that. He had some snaps in this. I enjoy some snaps in a song. And he had some whistling at the end. Like I always enjoy that. One thing I noticed, the second chorus he built off it. He had like some more guitar parts going on, which I thought that was really cool. Once again, like with the last songs, I don't really like copy paste. Like I like it when they add something new to it, so it's not just repetitive the whole way. But it's like it's like once again, I really like what he does instrumentally, but his voice.
I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, I think, too, because I agree with that. Like, the instrumentals are really good, and I appreciate songs that incorporate, like, guitar as well, and I like the guitar, but it's just, I just can't do the vocals. They're just not for me. But that's all I have.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, most of the notes I have to like highlight on are definitely the sort of guitar picking arrangement that they have going there, and also between that and his vocalization and the melody that they wrote for the vocals, a lot of it's in a minor key, so it definitely helps bring out that sort of like brooding, emo, sad nature of the song. Like the song's literally called "You Don't Need My Love Anymore," so this guy's just like, yo, what the fuck? What are you doing, random nameless girl? Like, why don't you need my love anymore? Like, it definitely sort of adds. I like when music theory and music characteristics or how you write a song add to the emotion of that the lyrics are trying to convey. That's probably like one of the best parts of music in general, just how those two intermingle in that sort of way. So yeah, this is another standout song for me, in all honesty, just because I love the guitar in it specifically. The last two songs are ballads, so really nice sort of emotional ballads to close out with. The first one is titled Endless Love.
Yeah, so literally my first note is ugh, his voice. Like, but then like the other comments, it's like, they had like strings going on. It was so pretty. Like the instrumental was so nice. Like it had like nice, soft piano, had these strings. And like my other comment, it's like his voice is ruining the channels. And then I guess he brought back like the birds chirping towards the end. And then I guess another one of my notes is I guess there's like the last 10 seconds are just kind of silence. Like there's just nothing happening. Like, okay. Yeah. Once again, it's like great instrumentals. Voices, yeah.
Yeah, I agree completely. The instrumental is fantastic. Again, the piano, the strings, the bird chirping, nature sounds. I'm here for all of that. His vocals, I couldn't do any of that. But then in like the last, I don't know, part of the song where he stops singing and it's just the instrumentals, I'm back on board again.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that's another like sort of big element of it, just like that ambient noise and the bird chirping. It sort of brings it back full circle with "Love Is a Flower," just sort of bookending it in that sort of way, which I liked. Again, I as someone that's still a big fan of his vocals, he doesn't go into falsetto all too often here, but I still think it goes well with. I guess it's kind of a haunting ballad in some sort of way, just the way that it sort of builds up to that sort of resolution we get in the chorus. So, not my favorite of the ballad tracks. That would actually be the following one, called "Don't Leave Me, My Love." So, Sam, take us out. What are your thoughts on this one?
So with this one I actually let out like an audible like sigh of frustration when he started singing. Like it was just like a, oh my gosh. But like he sounded like, in my notes, he sounded just like a creepy guy just kind of whispering in my ear. Like, I wasn't feeling that. And like once again, loving the instrumental. His voice got better as the song went on. You know, either I got used to it or he was just, it was better. I don't know. But it's like, the stuff he does, like, with the melody of the vocals, like they're good. It's not, it's really just, I don't want him singing it. I don't know. I call this is my thing. I call it like the Lin-Manuel Miranda effect. If you don't know who Lin-Manuel Miranda is, he wrote Hamilton and In the Heights, and he always has to perform his own
music, where it's good,
and it's
but he's not the best at it.
He's not good. Like, give it to someone else who can make it shine. So like that was kind of my frustration of like, this is good. Give it to someone else to actually like, but yeah.
Yeah, like the first part of the song, like the first half or maybe 40%, it's just, I was, just trying to go through the motions, get through the song. And then like right around the halfway point, like those strings come in and they like bring up like the feel of the song. And I was like, oh man, is it going to switch? I'm kind of on board for this now. And then like a little bit later, they just go away and it goes back to what it was before. And I was like, oh no, never mind. I'm out. So not the best ending track. I think I liked Endless Love better than this one.
I mean, what sort of makes this song for me, I feel, is literally, I can actually, again, his vocals, there's so much emotion in it, I feel. It's like the emotional buildup of the song, not just like the violin and string instrumentals kicking in, but again, just like, I feel the emotion in his voice. It's literally a song that's called "Don't Leave Me, My Love," and I can sort of feel that sort of, I guess, desperation or sadness resonating from that his voice. Obviously, I love like the sort of like lo-fi hiss that he adds to it, and it's got this like really nice slow moving blues sort of feel to it in a way, or just kind of like those old, kind of like the feel of old, of like people from like, I don't know, like Billie Holiday or like Ella Fitzgerald in that sort of way. And I specifically love the ending because there's a part of the ending that it kind of like leaves you hanging a bit, like sort of waiting for like the final notes to come in. Like I really love that detail of it in that sort of way. So I feel like the whole thing was just arranged so beautifully for me. Like it literally makes me feel emotional just hearing this song all the time, in all honesty. So yeah, I feel like it left that much of an impact, and that's why I felt it was a good way to end the entire album. So we finished the track list, on to our song ratings. Sam.
Okay, so for music, it's like literally all the points taken off is just for his voice. I gave it a 4.5 for music. And like I feel bad because it's not like the songs are bad. It's just I wasn't into them. And then for the concept, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna add 0.5 back to this just because there were cats in the music video. I'm gonna give it a 2 for concept. So overall, 6.5.
Okay, Baron.
I agree. So the instrumentals are just so good. So I couldn't give it that bad of a score because I really do enjoy like every single instrumental for every track. So I'm going to give it also a 4.5 out of 7. And then the styling, I really like the album art. I kind of like that kind of like abstract, kind of like bright colors look. And then the music video was great. Well, at least one of them was. And so I'll give that 2 out of 3. So also 6.5 for me.
Oh boy, this is such a reverse. I am giving a 3.5, a maximum of 3.5 for the singles, mostly just because I love Wadiru. Again, that was just a perfect summation of who Colde is as a musician for me, and I hope it does well. I hope he comes to the U.S. again. Freaking God, the one time Off on Off came to New York City was when we were in Toronto for Card, and I was just in the worst agony that I never got to see, and they've never come back ever since because they haven't done Off on Off music in forever. So that's just like my biggest regret, like not seeing any of this live. Album, I gave perfect marks as well, 3.5 out of 3.5, just because I loved every single song. I feel very rarely do we get albums that work as albums, and I feel like each one of these songs flows so well one into another, especially between like the end, like the beginning and the end. So I love that attention to detail to how you arrange an album. And I'm giving a 3 out of 3 for concept because mostly just because one, that the album art looks amazing. Two, again, freaking that the craziness that is the Wadiru music video. It's so him. It's like this visual style. It's instantly recognizable for me in terms of his music. So it's executed to perfection, and this album deserves perfection, which is why I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. This is the first 10 out of 10 I've given all year. It might be the only 10 out of 10 I'm giving all year. So that says something. Like, I'm usually the curmudgeon asshole on this show. So for me to give a 10 out of 10 should say something about how much I love this guy's music. So Cooper, he gave just overall thoughts on the album. He says, this album has made me a full-on Colde stan. His feature on Haze's So It Ends and Off on Off really made me pay attention to him as a solo artist. The album can go on repeat over and over for me. I love every song that much. Love Is the Flower opens the album and sets the tone for the whole thing. I really love his almost slurred singing style. It sounds really unique with a smooth and spacey production on the tracks. It almost becomes hypnotic to listen to. He's also a pretty good rapper. My favorite tracks are I Fucking Love You, Wadiru, and Don't Leave Me, My Love. So yeah, pretty much Cooper likes all the same songs that I do. He says the two MVs are pretty unique, and I really love the album cover too. This is definitely going on my album of the year shortlist. Thank you, Cooper. He gave it a 7 out of 7 for music, a 2.5 out of 3 for concept, for a total of 9.5 out of 10. So putting the numbers into the machine and calculating the score, that is going to be an 8 for Colde. Oh. No.
You invited us on the wrong week.
I invited you guys on the wrong damn week. Like, if we had Jacob on, this would have been like throbbing. Like, this would have gotten like perfect almost in terms of how does he like the music. But yeah, I know it's not your wheelhouse, but I'm glad you guys still managed to listen to it. So, what are your guys' thoughts on Colde's Love Part 1? Do you like the style of singing? Did you like all the visual elements? Do you think I Fucking Love You is a weird title track or something to say in a song? I don't know. It's funny. There's no way a song like this would ever be allowed on any like music show or whatever. Like, how would you even change I Fucking Love You? Because you know how they try to change the lyrics when it has like a brand name or whatever. Like what is it? Like EXO's Lotto became like Louder or something.
Yeah.
Or stupid stuff like that. You couldn't really do that with this song, in all honesty.
It's like, apparently like the Korean name was just I Love You. It wasn't I Fucking Love
You. he just wanted to emphasize, or for the people that are out from outside America or just our English speakers. So definitely let us know all your thoughts on him, Colde, and his music in the comments below.
They released their third mini-album, Fantastic, May 25th, 2019, as a 5-member group with Daye resting due to health issues. They started comeback promotions on that same day on Show Music Core, but 2 days later, she left. So she's on this album, and then 2 days into comeback promotions, she left.
So basically,